The institution of the family, once known in America, no longer exists. In years past, families were larger, but now families are smaller. More couples choose not to have children but to adopt. There are foster families, there are step families, there are blended families, there are racially mixed families, there are same-sex families, and there are much smaller families. Hello, my name is Dr. Carolyn T. Long, and I am a therapist, minister, author, and consultant. And I want to talk to you today briefly about the new family, or the new face of family in America. And this is the step or blended family. In recent years, there has been a rise in the divorce rate. And as a result of the rise in the divorce rate, there has also been a rise in the remarriage rate. But unfortunately, as the remarriage rate has risen, there's also been a rise in the re-divorce rate. The odds are against step families. Step families are created when someone remarries following divorce or death of a spouse, and that person or one or both of those persons come into the relationship with children. But it is also created when someone who may have never been married comes into a relationship with children. So wherever there is a stepmom or a stepfather created, that is a step or a blended family. And as I said earlier, the odds are against these families. They do not fare very well. They are more difficult and they break up more often. African Americans have the lowest marriage rate of any ethnic group in the country. They have the highest divorce rate. They have the lowest remarriage rate. And they also have the highest re-divorce rate in case of re-divorce. 2/3 of all black marriages end in divorce, as compared to about 50% in the larger population. Now, just a decade ago, the divorce rate was approximately 50%. The latest statistics suggest that the divorce rate has gone down slightly to about 46%. And this is due to the fact that more people are choosing to bypass the legal marriage and to live together, or to live in what's called a trial marriage. It would be nice if we could hear that the divorce rate has been lowered because people have learned better ways of coping with their issues, but that's not the case. The second-time divorce rate for the larger population is about 64%, while the first-time divorce rate for African Americans is about 66%. So those are the concerns that we have when we look at blended or step families. And this has been the impetus for the book that I have written titled Stepping and Blending, and the subtitle of that book is Helping African Americans Prepare for Marriage, Remarriage, and Stepfamily Life. This is a groundbreaking book that was written in the summer of 2010. It is a book and a workbook, or I might add it is a two-part book and workbook. The first book deals with the grieving process that one must go through when they have been in a failed relationship, which is necessary so as to prepare them for a future relationship or a future marriage. Then the second book, which again is a book and a workbook, deals with preparation for that marriage that will create a blended or step family. The book was written for a variety of audiences. It was written for individuals, for couples. It was written for churches, for pastors. It can be used in a singles ministry, in a family life ministry. It can be used in colleges, in universities, or in seminaries or Bible schools that train and equip men and women for ministry. The goal in writing this book is, as I've stated, to help African Americans prepare for marriage, remarriage, or stepfamily life. The book deals with accomplishes four tasks. It addresses the problem, it addresses the practicalities, it addresses the process, and it addresses the plan. And I've already just mentioned a little bit about the problem. The practicalities is that it focuses on the differences between a nuclear family, and a nuclear family is just a family that includes a man and a wife and their offsprings. It addresses the practicalities and the differences between that type of marriage or that type of family and a family that creates a blended or a step family. And it then focuses on the process of getting ready to move into another relationship. And that's a two-step process. The first step is to recover from the lost relationship, and the second step is to prepare for the future relationship. And then the plan is to lay the groundwork for pastors and church leaders to help them help couples embark on this new journey. The church has been chosen as that place to do this because, after all, we know that marriage was God's idea. And if the church does not help to prepare couples, be they African American or any ethnic group, if the church does not help to prepare them for marriage ahead, then who's going to do that? I just want to add one other thing about the problem, and that is that 65% of all Americans are connected in some way to a step or a blended family, as a step mom, a step dad, step grandma, step granddad, step aunt, step uncle, step cousin. And the slogan is this: if you're not in a step or a blended family, then you know someone who is. Something else I want to reiterate, and that is, if the church as an entity does not help to prepare couples for marriage and family life, who will? I thank you so much for taking the time to listen to this segment. I ask you to purchase the book. I ask you to look for it in its written format, as well as it is available in e-format. And thank you so much for listening.